Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Only one type of burger. For every pallet. Fries are extra. Large in size. We've got the shakes. Going over the brim.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's. Put a positive, delicious spin on your day at any one of our 5 locations. In Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, or Harriman. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. So much going on. Utah Jazz losing a couple games. The Mammoth getting a big win against the Kings Saturday night. And, of course, we're down to the Final Four. Duke, what are you doing, man? You're up by 19. Stop turning the ball over. Stop falling down. Oh, never mind. Go home. UConn advances. What a comeback. What a comeback by UConn. We'll get to all of that coming up. We're going to start with a little spring football to get you going. Kelly Poppinga, new defensive coordinator at BYU, meeting with the media. Here is Kelly Poppinga.
General question, just kind of assess the defense, what you've seen through spring practices.
Yeah, just consistency. Like today ended really well. We just got to get the start a little bit better, but I was really pleased the way that we finished practice. There's a drive here or there where you're just like, those are the ones that keep you up at night, but I just think we got great players. We got some players that are out right now, so we have those pieces back in the fall. I'm super encouraged. Just really just the consistency part that that we got to get better at. But I think that's something you're always fighting. But we'll get there.
As far as position groups go, let's start with linebacker. Kate Uluwabe and the guy from Kansas State. What has their impact been, and how are they going to help?
Yeah, Kate and Jake have been great, man. They've I thought both of them have performed really well. They picked up the defense really fast. Both of them are super smart guys, very talented, very versatile. I think they can do a lot of different stuff for us. But yeah, we just need some leadership qualities to start to come out. I think when you're a transfer, you're kind of in that middle ground of trying to figure out what's my role, what kind of leadership can I have. I haven't been here. There's other leaders, so I think they're still trying to figure that out. But they're perfect fits for this place. As far as just their personalities and the characteristics that we're looking for, and as far as players go, it's exactly what we're looking for.
How beneficial could that be for a guy like Ciala, who saw a lot of reps and now gets that added competition?
Yeah, no, the competition in the room is going to be fierce. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited to see how it all unfolds in the fall. We got great depth. Now we just got to get everybody, on the same page and making sure we're executing at eye level, and the consistency part, like I talked about earlier. But yeah, I'm excited to have a room like we have where there's great depth. Coach Anna did a pretty good job of recruiting those guys in, and I'm kind of taking all the the benefits from it. But it's I just feel like it's like that at every position really too as well. Yeah, I feel the depth on the team for the most part is excellent.
Justin Kirkland was a guy who wasn't able to perform like people wanted. He's back. Is he healthy? And what have you seen from Justin?
Justin's had a great spring, way different than the fall. He's healthy. He was a little banged up in the springtime or in the fall, but now he's healthy and he's going. And I feel like he's just playing with better pad level. He's lost a little bit of weight. He's leaner, more mobile. He's playing super physical. He's hard to move. You try to single block that guy, good luck. A really strong, big, athletic guy that we need in the inside to help us play great defense.
What do you feel is this?
How important do you think spring ball is for the development of your defense?
Yeah, I think for the most part for the youth, I think it's the most important. The guys that are inexperienced, right? So for even Cade, that's an experienced football player, just getting him used to our defense. Jake as well, kind of the same thing. But these new, I think it's the most valuable for these freshmen that are coming in, and guys that maybe haven't played a lot, that have a lot of game experience, that don't have a lot of game experience. Those are the guys that benefited from it the most. But you get in the camaraderie part of it more in fall camp, because there's a lot of guys that are out right now. I looked over there today and I'm seeing, Ciala Sarah's out, Isaiah Glasker's out, Evan Johnson's out. I mean, we got a bunch of key pieces that are out that are, nothing serious, but we'll have them all back. But it's just, once we get all the pieces together, I think we have a chance to be good. But that's, what I told them after practice today, we can talk about it all we want, and people can tell us how great we're going to be. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. We got to go put all the work in on the field, and take all the steps and go through the process, what it's going to take for us to be great.
What's the strength of your defense, you feel, heading into the final week of spring ball?
Man, it's a great question. I think we have strengths everywhere. I think leadership. If I'd have to say anything right now, I feel really good about our leadership. I think Keanu Tanavasa has done a great job there. I think Evan Johnson does a great job with the back end. Raider and Fale and Tommy Prasis, I think, great job in the safety room. I feel like leadership in every room is really good. Hunter Clegg with the outside backers, I think it's as good as I've seen since I've been here. And so it's kind of like we got to make sure we just stay out of the way and let them do their thing. A player-led team, something I learned from Bronco a long time ago, like a player-led team is way better than a coach-led team, right? So if we have to sit there and hound them and be on them all the time, we just don't have the right guys and we don't have the right team. But this team is a team that's holding themselves accountable, holding a high standard. Really, as coaches, we really don't have to say or do much. The players are doing that for us right now.
The guy that you just brought up, Tommy Parasis, maybe I'm curious on him, how he's progressed this year, because last year dealt with some injuries. How's he progressed? Is he kind of back to his original form?
Tommy looks great. Yeah, he looks as good as I've seen him. In that competition between Raider and Fale and him is awesome, and there'll be times where maybe all three of them are on the field at one time. But I feel great with the safety room. Ken Pula is another guy that's come along that we've been really pleased with. Jaron Kalama. I think that safety room is competitive. It's competitive everywhere, which is just a great sign of the depth that we have on our team. That's what it's going to be. And so for you to play early, man, you got to come in and learn the defense quick and get bought into the culture and the system fast. And I think that's happening. And it's fun to see the older guys really teach these younger guys too as well. And Tommy's been one of the best examples of helping these younger guys grow in that system, that safety.
You were on the field as a special teams coordinator. I couldn't help but notice when I was walking into practice today at the building, I saw you on the balcony. Does that mean you'll be like in the box or something? How will that work?
Just practice. Mitch, man, just seeing what I want to do, could be on I don't know, honestly. I think, in my first 13 years of my career, I was up in the box. So every season I was with Bronco, except for maybe one. At Virginia, I was up in the box. I think it was my last year at Virginia, I came down on the field, and so ever since then, I've been on the field. So my year at Boise, I was on the field. My last 3 years, I've been on the field. And so really just seeing what I like, honestly. And so I've had a couple times up in the box and a couple of times down on the field in these scrimmage situations, and just seeing what vibe is best. I don't know. I just, what worked for Coach Hill or what works for other coaches might not work for me, right? So I'm trying to see what's best for us, as a team, and we'll get to it. But yeah, right now it might be both. Who knows? Maybe there's some coaches that go up and then they come down at halftime. I don't know what it'll be, but we'll find out will help our team be the best that we can be.
Just to kind of play off that question, how's this defensive coordinator thing going for you? First spring practice, what have you learned?
Yeah, I've learned a lot. There's a lot to manage is what I'm learning, as far as just I think back to my time with other coordinators, and whenever a position coach has a question, you go in and ask the coordinator. And now I'm realizing there's like 5 other guys coming to me asking those questions of how you want something done. And so, just being able to get everybody on the same page, getting everybody coordinated, and doing it the way that we want to do it is the most important. It's not. I'm not about like what I want. It's what we want and what we're best at. And there's a lot of really good coaches in that room that have a lot of really good ideas and experience. And so we got to use all the resources that we have to help us be successful.
There's Kelly Poppinga talking BYU football. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I mentioned the Utah Mammoth got a nice win over the weekend. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
Hey, I'm Josh Spiegel, host of the podcast Lunatic in the Newsroom. If you enjoy journalism that drifts into mild panic, wild overthinking, and a guaranteed nervous breakdown, Lunatic in the Newsroom is for you. It's news like you've never heard before. The only newsroom with a panic button. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and gasp in horror as the show spirals completely out of control. It's not just news, it's emotionally unstable. Lunatic in the Newsroom. Listen today.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Reminder to join Scotty G tomorrow from noon to 3 at Tim Dolly Mazda, 10785 South Auto Mall Drive in Sandy. Big win for the Mammoth. They get it cranked up. 3 goals in the first, 2 more in the second. They win 6-2. They beat the Kings. Big step towards the playoffs right there. Let's get more with the best of the Mammoth postgame show.
DJ and PK, the Utah Mammoth got back on track Saturday night in Los Angeles with a convincing 6-2 win over the LA Kings. Alexander Kerfoot got the scoring started 2 minutes and 31 seconds into the game, and Utah took the victory to improve to 38-30-6 on the season, and they would end Saturday night with a 5-point lead on Nashville, who currently holds the second wildcard spot, and a 6-point lead on the Kings, the first team currently on the outside of the playoffs. Big 4-point swing for Utah on Saturday night in LA. It'd be a 3-goal first period for Utah. First, Kerfoot at 2:31, and then Logan Cooley with his first of 2 got the Mammoth a 2-0 lead.
And this Mammoth team trying to keep their composure. Look out, Cooley in front, scores! Logan Cooley catches the Hail Mary and stashes it right past Kemper to make it 2-0.
LA quickly answered, but Logan Cooley for the second straight game in the final 10 seconds of the first period on the power play would give Utah a 3-1 lead.
Floating one into Cooley as he tries to dance in, and he scores! What a goal from Logan Cooley. Lights, camera, Cooley.
3-1 in the second. Then the Mammoth would get another one from Alexander Kerfoot.
Kerfoot drags, holding up traffic. Kerfoot shoots, and they score! Kerfoot's got a pair tonight, and it's 4-1.
And now the Utah power plays red hot. 5 for 9 over the last 3 games. Nick Schmaltz got another one for Utah on the 5-on-4, his 27th.
Dylan Gunther leads the team with 8 power play goals. Sergachev with a slap shot off the stick of Mikey Anderson. In front, they score. It's Nick Schmaltz. 5-1. And the Mammoth are pouring them in here at Crypto.com Arena.
Kings make it 5-2 in the third before an empty netter from Jack McBain makes it 6-2. And Utah gets the win. Mammoth now 14-7-2 since December 3rd on the road as they win their 6th straight game to start a multi-game road trip. They'll be in Seattle coming up on Thursday, Vancouver on Saturday, as Utah finishes the month of March with a record of 7-5-2 with the struggles at home, but it could have been a monster month of March. Utah led in 14 of the 15 games played during the third month of 2026. For Utah, 5th time in the last 7 games, they get at least 4 goals in a game. It was the 9th time this year that they lead for at least 54 minutes, 3rd longest they've held a lead in a game, going from tape to tape, scoring early, finishing late, and beating the LA Kings by a count of 6-2. Let's hear what the guys thought after the game. Mikhail Sergachev with 4 assists, his 2nd straight game for Utah with at least 3 helpers.
You emphasize the importance of that win.
Yeah, obviously it's a battle for the playoffs, and they're right behind us, and it was a kind of a 4-point game for us, and it's huge. But I like their composure today. They scored a couple big goals. They had the push in the third. We stayed with it, and we just kept playing our game, and it paid off. Yeah.
You had 4 assists today, a career high. What was your personal mission in today's game?
To win the game. Most of those assists I think were secondary, so it's a bit of luck and playmaking by our good players. And, yeah.
You guys played with assertiveness, aggressiveness, and confidence. Where did you pull from that in the details of this game?
I mean, we've been playing well lately, and obviously we didn't have much time to practice, but we just talked about it. We watched some video that we needed some more pace in the D zone. On their D, put the puck behind them, and that usual stuff. And we saw it, and we saw it's working, and it worked tonight. So that's what worked.
I feel like this is the best game we've seen from the power play in a little bit. It was just clicking every single time it was out there. What did you see from the power play today?
We had a shot mentality. Everything started with a shot, and then it opened up, and our elite players made some elite plays, and it paid off. So simplicity is the key, I think.
In the past two games, Andres had to swap out the goaltenders. In this game, the defense really helped support the goaltending. Goaltending obviously played well. How big is it to not have your goaltender really be in danger and really have the confidence to keep him in the whole game?
I think he was in danger tonight, and he made some key stops, and he played unbelievable. And pulling or not pulling, the previous game, it doesn't matter. We're all for Veggie and V, and they're all for us. They do their jobs, we do our jobs, and sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it works. But most of the time, if they keep playing like that, we're going to win more than we're going to lose. And we have a lot of trust in our goalies when they're amazing.
You guys got a 4-day break from games. How rewarding is that, and how necessary is that, especially with all the really high-intensity games you guys have been playing?
I think it's like a much-needed break. Obviously you want to stay in it, but we're going to have some time to practice, tweak a couple things, and maybe relax for a little bit, and enjoy some time with the family and recharge, and go back at it. And I think it's very important.
How key was that goal right before the end of the first half? Kopitar had cut it to 2-1. You guys get the power play goal with, I think, 8 or 9 seconds left in the period.
Yeah, obviously it's important, and our power play hasn't been great this year, and lately it has been. And scoring that big goal, it just shows the composure of the guys, and that the guys are not going down easily, with one goal. So it's and the focus of the whole team. It's great.
How did you guys not let the moment get too big? I mean, obviously you guys know what's on the line, but today felt like you guys were more than locked in.
I don't know. We had a couple of meetings a couple of days before and talked about it, and we know what we got to do. We're just a young team, Sometimes emotions get the best of us, like last game, and we talked about it. And today, when emotions were getting the best of us, we settled it down, leaders, coaches, and it worked.
Thanks, Sergei.
Thank you.
Sergachev now joins Jack Hughes and Zach Werenski as the only 3 NHL defensemen this year to have 2 straight games with at least 3 assists. 2 goals for Alexander Kerfoot. He's now got 3 in his last 3 games. We heard from him after the contest as well.
So Sergei used the word composure for this game. How can you assess the way you guys played? Obviously, a really big win for your group.
Yeah, I mean, we've been getting off some really good starts and then haven't been able to capitalize and finish, play a full 60. I thought we did a great job in the second. Power play was huge, getting a goal there at the end of the first to kind of give us a little momentum. We carried that into the second, and we didn't let up.
There were, I think, 8 or 9 guys with points tonight, or if not more. In terms of the contributions across the board, what went into the team effort?
I mean, well, we scored 6 goals. When you score 6 goals, lots of guys are going to get involved. We're not going to score 6 goals every night. But tonight was one of those nights. I thought that we had 4 lines going for the most part. I mean, they got their looks. Their top line created some chances, and they were throwing pucks at net, getting tips, deflections, screens in front. We can do a better job containing in the D zone, putting pressure and pace. They don't have as much time to make plays, but overall, it's a great win, and we'll enjoy this and move on to Seattle.
How important was special teams tonight?
Yeah, huge. I mean, power play's been clicking. They have done a great job the last few games here, getting hot at the right time, and when they're clicking, they're dangerous. And then that's a dangerous power play. We killed them all off tonight, I think. So we just got to, special teams this time of year are huge. It's hard to score, hard to get chances. So when you get those opportunities, you want to make good on them, and you got to be dialed in to stop the opposing team.
And knowing what's been on the line, obviously, especially down this stretch, how did you guys not let the moment get too big?
We just went out and play. I think that one of the great things about our group is that we just enjoy ourselves. I think that it can, if you think too much or if you worry too much about what might happen or what could go wrong, you can get yourselves in trouble. We almost got like a youthful excitement to our team where we haven't had any scars for the most part. We're not scared of much, not scared of failing, and so we just gotta enjoy the moment, keep that as long as we can, enjoy this stretch, realize that these are hard games to win, and the job's far from done, but we're in a good spot.
Tied the franchise record for assists in a game. Just what stood out about his offensive game tonight?
Yeah, I mean, he's elite. Like when he's going, he can do everything. He can skate, he can make plays offensively, he can shut guys down defensively. He's physical. He can do it all, and yeah, I mean, when he gets the power play going like they were tonight, they were clicking. Made a great play to Cools in that first goal. So I mean, when he's going, our team's at our best, and he was great tonight, and he's been great for the majority of the year.
Big game for Karel Vejmelka as he stopped 29 of 31 for his 33rd win of the year. He hasn't lost 2 straight games but once since December 12th, and another nice bounce back from Vejmelka and Utah goaltending in this one. As the Mammoth win special teams 2-0, 4th game this year that they've won by at least 4 goals. Pretty complete performance from the Mammoth. We heard from head coach Andre Cherney after the game as well.
Unbelievable commitment from the boys. They were engaged, intense. Our gap was phenomenal. The D played a hell of a game, all of them. Our 6D played really, really solid. Like the way we play in our zone, and obviously that generated offense for us. Our forecheck was really good, especially early in the game. And our special team were elite as well. So it's a great night.
What stood out to you about the composure of your group tonight?
Everything. The way we were back at being as stingy as we can be. And we saw in the third, okay, human nature, we back up a little bit and we give them some life. So I think we have everything in that game to I don't think we need to prove it, to prove to ourselves, but still it showed when we're that tight in the neutral zone, that tight in our zone. We're extremely tough to play against, and I assume we back up a little bit and give time and space. We give life at the other team, but really like the way we play defensively.
What allowed the special teams on both sides to click the way it did today?
Well, I think our PK was solid. We didn't make a lot of mistake. Seriously, it was really good. You could see the guys were in mission. They had poise with the puck on the PK, and they were very quick at applying pressure. They did a really good job. And on the power play, I think you could see the aggression. And it's a word I use a lot, but it's exactly that. We attack quickly. We had fire in our eyes. Just a funny thing in the third on our power play. The guys were rolling, and the second unit say, wow, they're fun to watch. They should stay there. So that was pretty cool for them to say that.
Some really great performances from your guys across the board, but Kerfoot tonight, him obviously missing a good chunk of the season and coming back, he's still wanting to improve himself, but what'd you see?
I will say in the last week he really improved. I think his drive to the net, he has a better net presence, he wins big face-off for us. Kerfoot is a guy who a little bit of Swiss Army knife where he can do everything. He's a good offensive player where he has poise with the puck and create possession, but as well is super reliable defensively, really good read, super smart, and he has the intensity. So we're fortunate to have him and to have that kind of a depth.
The last 2 games, you've had to swap your goaltender out, not because their performance, but the team's performance in front of them. Today, you have to do that. What did you think of them standing up for Veggie and Veggie?
I think it's like I always say, the problem was everybody, and the success is everybody. We help Veg today by not giving a ton of quality. But Veg was rock solid when we did give quality, because you will. It's a game of mistakes. It's impossible to not give any quality looks in the game. Then your goalie has to be sharp and come tall, which he did.
And you mentioned quality mistakes. The last game, the emotions just caught up in the physicality. And today, the Kings are trying to egg you on, but kept your cool.
We learned a little bit. I think that was great. The guys stay with it. There's a time to fix those things, and there's time to get the 2 points. And ideally, you can do both in the same game. So tonight, I like our composure, and I like the way we answer the bell.
It's a 4-day break now from games. How rewarding is that, especially with all the physical games you guys have?
Yeah, that's important at this time of the year. I will say it's a different break than others in a sense of we need to take it really seriously of making sure we manage it right. We have a really important game coming back. It's a team who's chasing us, who have game in hand. So it will be important for us to be ready against Seattle. But first, let's make sure we manage the break the right way.
I mentioned the words aggressive and assertive and confident in the first period with you. In terms of where you see this group, maybe over the course of the season, where does this game rank in terms of those things?
You know, what our group has been able to do is bounce back many times, and they did it again tonight. I think the word Crosser uses commitment, and commitment of doing the right thing, and our commitment is elite. I'm really proud of the boys for that.
So as we said, off until Thursday, the Mammoth will be back here in Salt Lake. Couple practice days. The Utah Mammoth Ice Center, really their only extended time the rest of the regular season before the playoffs start to get in a couple practice days. They'll be back in action Thursday in Seattle. We'll be radio only with a nationally televised game on Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Hockey Night in Utah at 7 right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. But we're with you all week long on Mammoth Daily, wherever you get your podcasts. On today's episode, top 5 stories of the week, Monday morning power play, and we'll give you our final thoughts on LA, look ahead to the rest of the week, and the wild card race in the NHL. All coming up on Mammoth Daily, and then we're back on the radio Thursday. DJ and PK, have a good rest of your Monday, and I'll be back Friday to recap, hopefully, a win against the Kraken.
There is the best of the Mammoth postgame show. When we come back, the Utah Jazz lose a couple games, and David Locke takes a look forward. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
You deserve to feel better today. At Harper Clinic, patients report sleeping deeper, thinking clearer, and feeling stronger. Because mental health care is more than emotions. It's about your whole body. Work to lower your blood pressure, even boost your immune system. Get help to manage stress, focus, and reconnect. If you're facing anxiety, depression, or just feeling stuck, call Harper Clinic, 801-306-2345, 801-306-2345 to start feeling better.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The Utah Jazz played twice this weekend and went back-to-back. Nearly beat Denver. That was scary, but they gave up a 15-3 run in the last 3 minutes and lost the game. Whew. Dodged a victory right there. And then they went to Phoenix and got blown out. Absolutely blown out on the second night of the back-to-back. Here's the best of the postgame show.
DJ and PK, a very happy Monday morning to you. The Utah Jazz on Saturday night fell to the Phoenix Suns 134-109 after a very good game on Friday. A tough loss to the Denver Nuggets, but the Jazz played well. They look exhausted on Saturday. against the Suns team that hadn't played since last Tuesday. So a bit of a scheduled loss there from the NBA. The Jazz coming in with no rest, traveling cities, while Phoenix had been sitting at home for 4 days preparing for this game. Both teams were 1-6 going into Saturday night's contest, and Phoenix still pushing for the playoffs. Made it look like a lopsided run as they win by 35 points in the game, 25 points in the game. But you look at who played well for the Utah Jazz. Kyle Filipowski and Bryce Sensabaugh still able to get out there with 26 points. Bryce Sensabaugh played 33 minutes while Kyle Filipowski added 29. He also had 9 rebounds and 3 assists, but it was not enough to keep the Jazz engaged. They were down big at halftime, and Phoenix coasted to an easy victory. Here's what head coach Will Hardy had to say after the game.
It's a hard game, second night of a back-to-back. I thought that, Phoenix's tempo and physicality bothered us. They hurt us in a lot of different ways, but it seemed like, our response on a back-to-back wasn't great. They had us spinning defensively. They had 21 offensive rebounds. They turned us over a lot early in the game. We were able to get out in transition, and it just put us behind. We got to bounce back and move on to the next one.
What did you think of Svi being able to come in 9 minutes, 14 points, the way he's able to just turn it on?
Yeah, Svi's a pro, and he stays ready, works hard every day on his game and his body to be ready when he's called upon. Tonight's obviously a great example of his ability to maintain focus even when he's out of the rotation.
There he is, head coach Will Hardy on Saturday night as the Utah Jazz fell to the Phoenix Suns 134-109. The Suns were led by Jalen Green, who had 31 points. Devin Booker also turned in a routine 26 points on just 8 of 14 shooting. A very easy night at work for the Phoenix Suns as the Jazz looked exhausted on the second night of the back-to-back. The Jazz will return home tonight to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell making his return to town. Cleveland looking for wins as they are locked in that 4 spot right now, or in that 4 spot, maybe trying to climb up to 3 if they want it. That'll be an interesting thing to watch. Does Cleveland maybe try and boot a game or two down the stretch? Maybe they want to sit in that 4 spot so they can face the Detroit Pistons in the first or in the second round of the playoffs versus, maybe having to face a very good Boston team, a dangerous Boston team with Jason Tatum back in the opening round of the playoffs. So the Jazz find themselves in a tough spot, having lost a couple back-to-back and playing the third to final home game of the season for the Jazz tonight when they take on Cleveland. You look at the standings right now with the losses for the Jazz, they are nearly locked in to that 5th worst record in the NBA. Friday night, the Dallas Mavericks got a big victory over the Portland Trailblazers, putting 3 wins between them and the Utah Jazz. With just 7 or 8 games to go now for both of these teams, the Jazz find themselves in a spot where they're probably going to look at the lottery, having the 5th best odds to emerge, and that's a tight spot to be in. It's a good spot for the Jazz to be in. It means they would have about a 99.4% chance of holding on to their draft pick, which was a big key in this season, especially after Walker Kessler got hurt. You knew what the Jazz were trying to accomplish, and it looks like they're going to find a way to do that. And luckily, they've been able to avoid a lot of losses like we saw on Saturday night against the Phoenix Suns. While the Jazz were blown out in that one, it's not been the most common. We've seen the Jazz go out there and put up some effort because the young players have really gotten better under the tutelage of Will Hardy. Again, the Utah Jazz fall to the Phoenix Suns 134-109, back in action for 2 games against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then they will face off against the Denver Nuggets later this week before heading back on the road.
There is the best of the post-game show. Now, while David Locke was in Denver on the start of that back-to-back, he spoke with PK about the team. Here's David Locke with PK.
Okay, the Jazz, they are in Denver tonight. Phoenix tomorrow, a 2-game road trip. 9 games left. This looks like they surprised me by losing, especially in the manner that they did, to the Washington Wizards the other night, but obviously going up against Denver, which is one of the better teams in the league. And I think people are sleeping on Denver, so I would think that the Jazz would have a relatively easy time losing tonight. Can they compete? Yeah, maybe so. We'll see how that goes. But I do think Denver's a team to watch out. even though they're sitting, what are they, like fourth in the Western Conference. Joining us now is the play-by-play man, David Locke. You got Riley Jensen and me. Mr. Locke, good morning. How are you?
Every Friday morning, I wake up and I know my week is complete because I get to spend it with two of the legends of all time, David James and Patrick Ann. I get 30 minutes through osmosis, through the phone line, where I get connected to greatness, pure genius, consistency, day in and day out. And yet today, they bring in someone who might be much more helpful to me in life than either David James or Patrick Ann. They bring Riley Jensen. They finally figured it out that the lunatic is actually on the edge, not going to actually make it through every day, and needs a little guidance from a professional. Riley Jensen, great to chat with you.
Wow. I mean, with that kind of an intro, I mean, I got to come up with like a pretty good question here.
Well, you don't have to come up with anything because PK's led me into my favorite conversation right now, and what was like my entire dinner conversation last night, and what I'm super fired up about, and that is like the weird dynamics of a bunch of teams in the Western Conference right now. So let's talk about it, PK.
Yeah, I think that the Nuggets, I like them. I didn't like them as much last year. Obviously, they won the title a couple years back, but then I thought they lost stuff. And now I think to what level remains to be seen, but I think they're closer to what they were when they won the title this year than they've been in the last couple.
Okay, so I'm assuming there's a question mark on the end of that. I'll just continue.
Yeah.
So first thing I would say, and then also you're going to have to interrupt me here because this is like I'm in a diarrhea of the mouth here because I have so many thoughts. So they're who I picked to win it. So from the beginning of the year, I don't like what I've seen that much this year.
Why not?
I just feel like first of all, they're not closing games like they used to. And maybe that's just a few injuries. Cameron Johnson really has been a disappointment.
He has.
And hasn't melded nearly as well. And there's just something there's something a little off on them. It's been surprising to me. Their offense is the best in the NBA. I think that really matters. I guess when they get down to it, defensively, they'll probably buck up in the playoffs, and maybe they still are the right pick. And Jokic is just incredible. And then there are a bunch of metrics that actually the slower the game gets, the better they get. And so I think that'll help them, and they're actually offensive rebounding a little bit. But there's two things that just don't feel right to me. One is the fact that they've just had so many injuries. And if you look through the history of the league, and they're finally healthy, it's not an injury report with 13 players on it like I've been watching all week, is that those teams actually don't usually, they'll get healthy and they'll pull it together. That actually doesn't usually happen for whatever reason. And so I'm a little concerned on that. And then just late game stuff, the Jokic, Murray, pure dominance, late in the game, just always making plays, just hasn't been there this year. And I'm just a big believer that the late game is the best indicator of what's happening. This is where I will continue. The flip side is Houston. Houston is so jacked. The other word starts with an F. They are like, I don't know the word to use because the only words to use on them correctly are swear words. I've never seen a team so jacked up. Like, they're ruined. They're destroyed. Their game against Minnesota the other night, watching their late game, I mean, Durant literally ran around the floor for 4 minutes just pouting. Hands up in the corner like he was a 12-year-old. Why don't I get the ball? Hands on the hip. Udoka has to call timeout to get him back focused. He then goes scores 11 straight to bring them back in the game. And Alfred Sengun's like, well, I want the ball. So he takes the ball at the top and starts dribbling, going one-on-one from 35 feet because he knows there's zero chance he can go post up and get a ball from anyone. Amon Thompson the whole time is just sitting around wondering, when do I get my turn? They've looked that way all year. All year long, I've said, if you watch Houston late games, it looks like a tug-of-war. Now it doesn't look like a tug-of-war. Now it just looks like a flat-out street brawl of how much they each want the ball and don't like each other. Alfred Sengun makes this unbelievable play late in the game where he blocks a Julius Randle layup where Durant had fouled him, goes over the top, saves the game with a block shot, bloodies his mouth. Durant doesn't pick him up, give him a high five or anything. They're out in the first round. They hate each other. How's that? There's the flip side. The West is crazy right now. Minnesota can't do anything but play isolation. They keep trying. Chris Finch keeps trying to put in this motion offense and do all these other things with them right now, and they can't do anything but play isolation. Julius Randle just can't help himself. And frankly, the minute Julius Randle starts playing isolation, then Ant starts playing isolation when he's not in right now. And they don't have a point guard. Neither Houston or Minnesota have a point guard. And it's actually kind of an interesting thing in this positionless style that you need that guy. Houston desperately misses Fred VanVleet, if you really believe he's a point guard. Mike Conley did start the other night, but only because they were desperate, and he just doesn't have it. His legs are gone. I think he's like 3 of his last 40 from 3.
Yeah.
He can't play in the playoffs. So those two teams, here are these two loaded teams that are like, supposed to be really good. Minnesota's back-to-back Western Conference Finals, and I watched them. Part of me wonders if Minnesota could click back in. They just not to play in the playoffs or something. Houston, I would just love to play them in the first round. I mean, Durant's scary, but I would just love to play them in the first round if I was another team. And then you have, I'm just going to keep going. I mean, this was last night's dinner. This was awesome. We just all were talking about it. The Lakers are hot right now, but it's actually 3-point variance. Opponents have gone all of a sudden shooting 30% from 3 against them. That's just luck. If you put the number back to normal, their defense goes back to 18th or 19th. So back to Denver. Yes, Denver is probably the third competitor to San Antonio and Oklahoma City, but to me, they just don't feel quite right. How's that? I actually tied it up in a bow at the end.
Yeah.
So, Riley, if you had a patient that just started babbling for 17 straight minutes, what would you do?
I would continue to listen, and then I would probably raise my eyebrow and repeat the last 4 words that you said, and put a question mark on it, and keep you talking.
No, keep me going. Okay,
yeah,
I like it.
Because the more information I get, the better I can help.
Larry King. You guys remember Larry King, the old show on CNN?
His son married to
his son lives here in Utah.
Okay, so he was the greatest interviewer ever in the history of television, and I studied. He had books of all his interviews, and I read them all and studied them. And the most common questions he asked: how, why, explain. He asked more one-word questions, and just gave his guests momentum.
Yeah. I loved what you went through there. I mean, I was particularly interested in Houston when you're talking about all this body language and all these guys fighting for the ball. It was a little bit what we talked about yesterday with constructing a team with Tim Lacombe, and how you can't just have 7 guys that are fighting each other for the ball. You have to have a couple of guys that score, and then a couple of guys that are willing to play the roles that need to be played in basketball. And it sounds like that's what's happening at Houston right now.
And let's be really honest about it, by the way. We're going to be really, really good next year. We're going to deal with this.
Well, I wanted to ask you about this. I think did you tweet a little while ago something about the myth of losing culture? Did I see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a big joke.
So
this is the biggest joke in the NBA.
So this is the one thing that I want to ask you though. What's the thing that you're seeing from the young players this season that makes you optimistic about how quickly they can turn it around next year? Because I think that's the big question for everybody, right?
Yeah, so there's about 3 things here. This is long. We could do a dissertation on this. So, okay, the first thing is that our culture changed the minute we traded for Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, I literally can tell you the day it happened. We went from being bad to being good, just talent-wise.
Yeah.
There's no sport in the world where an individual player can change. This is why we have tanking. There's no sport in the world where one individual player changes the entire dynamics of a team. In football, you can get a quarterback. You still got to have an offensive line. But in basketball, if you just get that guy, it's different. So Cleveland lost 62 games and LeBron resigned, and their culture changed the next day. And they were great. So that's the first thing. The second thing about this that I think people really misunderstand about the NBA, and it's the biggest misnomer in the league, is continuity. To me, when I hear a general manager tell me about continuity, that means you copped out and didn't do your job in the offseason. Because you know what? There's actually nothing continuous. The season stops, and then it starts again 5 months later. Everyone's contract's on a different status. Everybody's at a different stage in their career than they just were. There isn't actually continuity. You might have togetherness. You might have a Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic relationship that is your 2 best players, and you're building off that. But you're changing every piece around it. There's no such thing as continuity. The best way to describe me by an NBA coach, without being disrespectful to the people that are putting their lives, it's like being on a military assignment. And you go for a period of time with a group of people, and you come back, and then they send you back out again. And with no disrespect to the fact that those people are risking their lives. right? Like that's a very different concept, but at least conceptually from a group culture standpoint, if you read Sebastian Junger's Tribe, it's a very good parallel. So the culture changes on October 1st of the next year, immediately on the first day, because it's different people. And the other one is just that there's just no track record that shows you can, like, that the players, if there's a cultural problem, it's not the players, it's the ownership. You have bad ownership or bad management or an inability to get good players, and that's incompetence. I'm not sure it's culture.
That's fair.
Now, like, you can have Kevin Durant, Alfred Sengun, and Amon Thompson, and I just made a pretty good case they got a busted culture. Right? I'm watching that team. Yeah. That team has no culture, but that has nothing to do with that. That might exist, but that doesn't have to do with losing. It actually has to do with the opposite. I might argue that, and Will has been very outspoken about how proud he is of his guys, that they've held together. The cultural issue that you would have in this group would be that Isaiah Collier looks at Keontae George like, you are sitting in front of $50 million for me, and I'm just not going to play along with you. And that Bryce Sensabaugh looks at Blake Hinton when he comes in, like, I'm not playing along with you either, because you're sitting in front of my $40 million. And these guys haven't done that, which is great. But the fact of the matter is, you know, when we're really, really good, 4 of them are going to be on the team.
Understood. I think that you hear coaches talk about this all the time. In order to win, people have to sacrifice, right? So you got somebody like Keontae George, who this season, as he's had a breakout, really hasn't had to sacrifice. What type of adjustments will this team have to have when they are sacrificing for the sake of winning?
I mean, I think this should be, you know, how we do a hypothetical conversation about this every single day in the offseason on something we've never seen before. I don't know, but this should be the conversation of the offseason. Because right now, Lauri Markkanen probably, I don't have the numbers in front of me if you pull it up, but I guess Lauri Markkanen takes about 17, 18 shots a game. And Jaren Jackson's going to want 17 or 18 shots a game. And Ace Bailey's going to be ready for 16 or 17 shots a game. And Keontae George is trying to prove that he's an all-star, and he's going to want 18 shots a game.
Right.
And that's a problem.
Right.
Because that's 75 shots, and there's only 86 a game, and they're not all playing together. So this is going to be an issue. Like, we're great. I'm so glad this is our issue, right? But we're going to be really, really, really good next year, and we're going to have an issue. And, you know, and purely on Keontae, for the level of, like, this is, to some extent, Keontae's been amazing this year. Let me be perfectly clear. It's awesome the work he and his assistant coach Chris Jones have done and the way Keontae's grown, and as a human, how he's grown has been, Riley would be one of the coolest things you've ever been around. As a sports psychologist, to watch Keontae this year, day to day, would be one of the coolest things you've ever been around. Okay, right. With that said, he's ranked as the worst defensive player in the NBA for 2 years in a row. And that's cute when you lose 60 games a year and no one really says anything. But when you're trying to win 55 games a year, that's not okay anymore.
Yep.
Like, this has been, like, miserably difficult in the sense of, like, you're losing and there's not this. But there's nothing even hard about this. What's really, really, really hard in the NBA is to win 55 games. And Denver, to me, a little bit, when we go back to Denver, what Denver looks like to me a little bit is that it's just been hard for a long time and they're a little off. Maybe tired. Maybe it's just worn them down a little bit. They've been trying to win for a long time. And it's really a lot of work to win in the league. It's a lot easier to roll out and play 48 minutes with no intention to win.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I agree with that. I mean, you didn't even talk about Walker Kessler and his FGAs, because this season, I mean, mind-blowingly enough, he's shot 75% from the three-point line.
Right, in his 4 games, yes. But Walker Kessler's not going to want 1 shot a game. Right? I mean,
he's not going to play defense if you're going to give him 1 shot a game.
Right. I mean, Quinn Snyder used to always say, like, you know, hey, we got to slow the game down a little bit and put the ball in Rudy's hands and let him touch it and hand it off and do a few things with it, or else he's not coming back to play defense on the other side.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And, like, I know everybody wants Zubac back, which we could have some long debate about, but, like, he's a very high possession usage center and the least efficient center in the NBA offensively.
Yeah. And you didn't even mention about Ace Bailey's development, because it might get stifled.
Right. Well, I don't think you can stifle that.
Well, I mean, you got these high-end dudes who want, and Lowry's averaging 19 shots a game. As you say.
No, this is real.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the first things is Will's going to have to really, this is what will be interesting, is Will has always been a very fluid coach. And I'm not sure he's going to be able to be nearly as fluid with his substitution patterns, because I think he's going to have to be very regimented that, okay, Lowry likes to play 3 stints. So we open the game in the first 6 minutes, they're all on the floor. But at the 6-minute mark, Lowry goes out and so does Keontae. And the backup point guard comes in with now Ace Bailey and Jaren Jackson are getting the possessions. And then at the 9-minute mark, you know, Jaren Jackson goes out, and then Ace Bailey's getting the possessions for the next 3 minutes. And then Lowry comes back in and shares them with, like, I think there's going to have to be something really, a lot of, like, which 2 guys are on the floor at the same time to be able to make sure that everyone gets their touches and their allocation. It's going to be really complicated. Great. I love this.
Yeah, I do too.
We could be really, really good, but it's not simple.
All right, there's David Locke with PK. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
Hey, I'm Josh Spiegel, host of the podcast Lunatic in the Newsroom. If you enjoy journalism that drifts into mild panic, wild overthinking, and a guaranteed nervous breakdown, Lunatic in the Newsroom is for you. It's news like you've never heard before. The only newsroom with a panic button. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and gasp in horror as the show spirals completely out of control. It's not just news, it's emotionally unstable. Lunatic in the Newsroom. Listen today.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.